All right, so we're finding an explicit formula for this sequence. And remember, an explicit formula is a formula that relates the position in the sequence to the term in the sequence without having to use the previous term. So when we're looking at this, we're going to make a table. So my term number and my actual term. And here my term number is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And my actual term is 2, and then 4. Third term is 6. Fourth term is 8. Fifth term is 10. And when you make that table, guys, sometimes the formula just pops right out at you. So 1, 2, 2, 4, 3, 6, 4, 8, 5, 10. We're just multiplying by 2. So A sub n is equal to 2 times n, 2 times your position. And that's your formula, you're done. With recursive formulas, we give the first term. So over here, we're going to go ahead and just write A sub 1 is 10. And then we can make a table that relates the terms. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these are our terms are 10, 13, 16, 19, 22, and our sixth term is 25. And if I have that first term, if I know that I'm starting at 10, then it's fairly easy to see that each term afterwards, we just add 3. And so if I know that I start at 10, I can just say, well, the next term is the previous term, so A sub n minus 1 plus 3. It's a little harder to write an explicit formula than it is to write a recursive formula. Because with recursive formulas, you need the first term, and then you can just relate everything to the first term, or relate back. If we were writing an explicit formula for this, it would be a little more difficult to do. All right, and so that's 9 and 10, where they say, all right, I gave you this recursive formula, but I want you to write an explicit formula that will allow me to find the terms in that sequence without having to know the first term. And so the way we do that is we, again, make tables. Of the first several terms and see if we can find the relationship between them. So my first term is 3. My second term is 3 times A sub n minus 1, so 2 minus 1. That's 3 times A sub 1, which we know is 3. 3 times 3, which is 9. My third term is 3 times A sub 3 minus 1. That's 3 times A sub 2, which we found right there. It's 3 times 9 is 27. My fourth term is 3 times A sub 4 minus 1, which is 3 times A sub 3. And that's 3 times 27, which is 81. And so if we list those, we've got 3, 9, 27, 81. Those are powers of 3. Those are powers of 3. And with the recursive formula, I could just come back and say, oh, just multiply 3 to the previous term and you'll get the next one. But if I want an explicit formula that will allow me to find term 10 without finding the first 9 terms, then I've got to do a little more work. These are powers of 3. And so for an explicit formula, A sub n is equal to, it's 3 to the n power. This is 3 to the first power. This is 3 squared is 9. 3 to the third is 27. And 3 to the fourth is 81. And so my explicit formula is A sub n equals 3 to the n. And again, that allows us to come in and say, find me the 25th term without having to find 24 terms before it. And so recursive formulas are neat because they're easier to work with sometimes. But explicit formulas are very useful because we don't have to have the previous values in order to use them. All right, that is it for today.